Let's give this. It makes a cool noise when it upshifts, and it goes. Welcome to another episode of Double J's List. Today I'm going to be reviewing a very special car. It's a 2018 Volvo V90 R design with Polestar optimization. This one in particular is very special because, let me give this a try. Ready? Big news! This one's going to be available on Cars and Bids. How was that? Any good? Leave a comment if you'd like. I'd appreciate that. Anyway, and hit the subscribe button while you're at it. That'd be really beneficial for me. Moving on. This Volvo V90 is an extremely cool and special car because this is a T6 model, which means it's the supercharged and turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder. It is the R design, which gets the more sporty looking appearance, and it is Polestar optimized. So a few years ago, Volvo bought out the tuning company Polestar in the naming rights and basically applied it to their highest performance models, kind of like Mercedes did with AMG back in the day. So this car has that. So it has a little bit more power than just even regular T6 V90. So this car is this fantastic blue. It's called bursting blue, as a matter of fact, and in the sunlight, which I'm really glad, this is a nice, clear and sunny day here in beautiful Buffalo, New York, that it brings out how fantastic this finish is. Now, if you're not familiar with Volvos and their models, the V90 is their largest station wagon. This is their flagship for the year of 2018 as far as their cars go. So, you know, we live in a world full of performance SUVs and crossovers, and this is one of the few cars that's left, especially station wagons, that is high performance. And what I think makes this Volvo even more special versus what's coming out in the future is this is one of the last ones that doesn't have some form of electrification. Now, I like electric cars and I've owned a number of different electrified vehicles already, but if you're looking for that raw internal combustion feel, this car provides that with its both turbocharged and supercharged engine. Now that brings me to something else. If you can't tell, I love Swedish cars. I'm gonna be a bit biased in this review, quite frankly. My favorite car that I've owned out of the over 20 or 30 cars that I've owned, I haven't done the math in a while, was my 1995 Saab 900 Turbo. Now, I picked up that car for really cheap at when I worked at a car dealership, and it was a car that was traded in for like $1,300 and that's what I bought it for, and I drove it for a few years, and oh my gosh, that was such a cool car. It turned me into a Swedish car enthusiast. Swedish cars have a lot of really interesting ways of going about things. They are their own flavor of the automobile world, so to speak. So, and I don't think that this car is an exception to that rule. Let's start with that drivetrain. It's very unique. It's a turbocharged and supercharged engine. So it's a 2-liter 4-cylinder, and not many other cars have ever had a setup like that, especially for like production cars. I mean, you've seen it on different race cars and things like that. And that's what gets the T6 name. So what that does is we'll take it out for a ride. I'll talk about how it feels, but it makes it a very unique drivetrain versus other vehicles out there on the road, and that's what the Swedes were doing. And they were like the first, pretty much, to bring turbochargers to the market back in like in the 70s. So at least for production cars. So that was it's what they do, and there's no exception. And it's also very safe, very highly rated for safety. It has a ton of extra safety features and things like that. Volvo and Saab are always at the top of their game for that, and this car is also no exception for that either. There's a little thing that I want to show everybody on the inside in a few minutes that makes this pretty darn cool. Now let's go ahead and explore a little bit of it. Gosh, this color is good. So these seats are so darn good. I had the opportunity to drive this around a little bit today because I had some errands I had to run, and I was just blown away by how comfortable yet sporty these seats are. They have really good bolsters. They hold you in place. And at the same time, they're extraordinarily comfortable and supportive. They're soft in the right spots. They're firm in the other places they need to be good. Awesome, awesome seats. This car recently had a detail by a professional detailer, and that also made this color just really jump off the car. The interior is really clean and spotless. Now, this is fantastic. You wouldn't know that this has 83,000 miles on it by looking at it, that's for sure. Moving on, the back seats have a really decent amount of room. And I know for a fact the reason the seller is selling this is not because he doesn't like the car. It's because he has a lot of kids and he wanted to have a third row of seats, so he got a vehicle that has 3 rows of seats now. So this one only has 2, but they're quite spacious. A lot of leg room. I mean, this is a big car. So it does a lot of things really well, yet it's still a car and not a big crossover or SUV, which is fantastic. Hatch is power. It opens right up. This is super deep. I'm going to demonstrate this. Look at how far my arm goes. And I'm still over a foot away from touching the back seat. This is enormous, okay? Not many cars have this kind of cargo space. Usually it's reserved for like SUVs and things like that, but this is just about as practical as an SUV could be. Underneath here you get this little divider, so if you wanted to actually make the storage space smaller, you could put that up and maybe have like your grocery bags so they don't fly across, because it's so big that you kind of need something like that. Pretty cool. And then a little bit of more shallow storage there, and then underneath you get like a spare tire and things like that. Nothing too exciting. Now, one of the, let me try this, quirks or features, as someone says, right here. So this button right here closes the hatch. This one closes the hatch and then locks the car. I haven't seen too many cars with that feature, but that's actually really handy. How many times have you went and closed the hatch of a car, even if it's power or whatever, and then you're like, I gotta lock the doors, and a lot of cars don't even have that feature to be able to lock it after closing the hatch. This one does, so that's fantastic. Moving on, I'm not going to be the quirks and features guy like somebody, but I can point out a couple things, that's for sure. Some other things that the seller wanted me to point out is that it's got fairly low mile, recently installed Michelin tires on it. You can tell that they're almost new. They're pretty darn good condition. And he installed some new brakes on it that are aftermarket, but it was like a premium brand. I can't remember what they were. They're slotted and drilled with like a more performance-oriented brake pad. So that's actually quite nice. These are the Michelin Pilot Sport All Seasons. They're a nice tire. Perfect for like what this car does, especially with its all-wheel drive system. If you don't live in a place like Western New York, you can probably get away with using them year-round. Unfortunately, here we get some serious snow, and you do need to really run winter tires. Those who don't, in my opinion, are crazy. Anyway, moving on to the interior. I'm going to start the car up because it's a hot day today. And you can see everything comes to life really cool. Actually, you know what? I'm going to turn it off real quick because I want to show something that's really neat. Now, watch this center screen. When you first turn the car on, it goes through a checklist of all of the safety systems to make sure that they're functioning. I've never seen this on any other car. I've seen cars that go through check things or other things that are working. You know, your oil pressure's okay, the battery's okay, that kind of thing. This makes sure all the safety features are working. So there it is. It's showing you all the safety systems are in check and working. One thing about these Volvos is they have some of the nicest interiors of just about any car that I've experienced, you know, for the price point especially. This has a very nice interior. The materials are fantastic. It's got like a suede-like insert on the center of the seat, some deviated stitching, a tiny little Swedish flag, very cool. Awesome interior. I can't speak highly enough about like the quality of everything and how it works. The volume knob feels very nice. These little switches for the vents have like this wonderful click. I don't know how to explain that. So very well thought out, very well done. One thing about Volvos and Saabs from back in the day, and I feel like it still holds a bit true here, they make all of the buttons and switches just a little bit larger and easy to operate, so you can do it with winter gloves or even mittens on. I remember my old Volvo 240 that I had, it had huge buttons to turn like the headlights on and things like that. And if you look, like the stalks, everything is just a little bit bigger than you would expect. Like, look how big the thumb wheel is for the dimmer. It's literally the width of your thumb. Pretty cool. So one of the most important features of this car, there's a switch here that says drive mode. Okay, you have to actually press down on that, and it makes something pop up on the center screen, and you can switch between eco, comfort, dynamic, and then an individual one. I've been playing with the dynamic one and the comfort one. The comfort one I've been using just cruising around, everyday use, like it says, and then the dynamic, it goes into like a high performance mode. So if you want to switch, you can see the blue outline, that's telling you that it's in comfort mode. When you want to switch to dynamic, something kind of cool happens. Now if you look at the gauge cluster, right where the transmission is, the indicator, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see it. Okay. Now, when you put it in that dynamic mode, a little thing pops up and says Polestar at the bottom. So it's letting you know that it's now using the Polestar tune, and it's going to be a little bit faster and so on and so forth. I will say that the shift points go a lot higher, so it holds on to gears a lot longer. It downshifts a little bit more eagerly, and we're going to take it for a ride and actually like look at that now. But just as an idea, like, boy, this is a super nice interior, super nice car. If you're not aware of how great Volvos have gotten in the past few years, like, this is awesome. So, all right, let's get this set up and we'll go take it for a ride. Now, before I get going, I want to mention that this car has a certified Volvo warranty all the way up until July of 2027. And I don't know if you've ever done any research on certified warranties and which ones are good and which ones are better. This one, as far as Volvo is concerned, seems to be one of the highest rated certified warranties on the market. Now, I believe there's a deductible of like $250 or $500 or something like that every time you bring it in, but if you have a really big repair, it's covered. And I believe that the owner of this car has actually exercised that a few times, and it's worked out really well in his favor. It's also working out for whoever buys this car because they get that warranty, and means the car has been maintained by a dealership for a lot of issues. So that's fantastic if you really think about that. All right, one little quirk that I got to mention that I just forgot to mention while I was filming the in-car stuff. This automatically puts its parking brake on every single time. So it's kind of a weird little quirk. You know, they want to make sure the car doesn't roll away, I guess. I don't know. So I find myself putting it in drive and being like, oh, it's stuck. Oh, the parking brake's on. Okay, so you just got to press. It's a button. It's not a lever. It's really easy. It's just one little extra step, and probably, you know, makes you look around a little bit more, make sure you're not running over any kids or pets or anything like that before you leave. So I don't know if you can tell, but I'm filming this inside of one of our beautiful county parks, and I'm on what is like a gravel driveway, and this gives me an opportunity to describe the way that this car rides. It is firm when it needs to be firm, however, it's still very soft and compliant. I haven't figured out if the driving mode makes the suspension firmer or not. Actually, let's do that right now. Let's see what happens. So I'm in comfort mode now, and I'm moving to dynamic, and we're gonna hit a couple bumps and see what this does. I'm kind of curious. All right, so it already downshifted because it's, like I said, the transmission programming gets really aggressive. So while I'm waiting for some bumps to pop up here, okay, here we go. And I don't know if it's any different than when it's in, I don't know if these are adaptive dampers, but it's still riding extremely nicely. So One thing I wanted to comment on is this is electric power steering, like almost every car is now, and it delivers a good amount of feel, all things considered. Most cars that have power steering these days, this electric power steering, it takes all the feel away. Somehow Volvo has managed to maintain some of that. Now, it doesn't feel like a Miata or a Porsche or something where you feel everything good, bad, and indifferent. This just gives you just a little bit of road feel, let you know that the wheels are doing something. It's perfect, in my opinion. All right, now I'm going up this corner now. Speed limit here is only 15 miles an hour, and there's a lot of people walking around, so I'm not going to really push it at all in the park here. But it gives me an opportunity to feel the steering and just kind of get a general feel of the car. Now, one thing I want to mention about this, despite the fact that it is an extremely large station wagon, it feels it drives small, I should say. Like so. It doesn't feel like I'm driving like a huge station wagon SUV. It feels like a much more small, nimble car. Here's some big bumps. Let's see what it does. Yeah, it still rides really nice. So yeah, I don't think these dampers are adaptive. Maybe I'm wrong. Leave me a comment. But anyway, so moving on, this car, I'm still in Polestar mode, so it's in a pretty low gear. Or I'm sorry, dynamic mode, which is showing Polestar tuning. So I'm gonna go ahead and drive through this section. We're gonna be exiting the park here in just a moment. Okay, I'm gonna be pulling out onto a high-speed road here. I'm gonna give it the beans a little bit just to get up to speed. We'll get an idea of this dynamic mode with the Polestar optimization. Let's give this. It makes a cool noise when it upshifts, and it goes. Nice firm upshifts. Very quick. So this is one of the reasons I love Swedish performance cars specifically, is they're absurdly practical, but at the same time they're quick and fun, and you really wouldn't know it by looking at it necessarily. Not saying that this car isn't gorgeous, because this is one of the nicest looking station wagons I think made in the past few years, but this car is quick, it's light on its feet for a big car, and quite good. In driving it earlier today, I had the opportunity to play with the Bowers and Wilkins stereo a little bit. I didn't adjust too much in the settings, and there's a setting to optimize it for the driver, and I will say that it's very clear and very, very good. I would like to play with the settings a little bit more to get to know it better, but it's still pretty fantastic. But yeah, it's kind of neat because like I can't hear the supercharger at all. I don't hear any whine, but I do hear the turbo whistle when it gets going. So the way that this works, the way I understand it at least, is the supercharger comes on and eliminates anything that would have been turbo lag, and then the turbo comes on, and that's where the supercharger is essentially running out of breath. So, and it works pretty good. It just makes for a very linear powertrain, which just has power everywhere. So yeah, I step on it, it goes, and then goes a little more. I'm never feeling like I don't have enough power, that's for sure. And it's really funny because earlier today I drove it around mostly in comfort mode, just because I was just cruising around, running errands, and very quiet, very easy to drive. Awesome car just to get around town comfortably. It would be nice on a road trip. I took it on the highway a little bit. Now, in this dynamic mode, it transforms into a little bit of a different car as far as how the throttle response is and the transmission response. I almost feel like it's a little bit louder, like the engine noise, which is kind of neat. Now, just to talk about the transmission a little bit more, I'm leaving it in drive and I'm not shifting it manually. I found that the transmission is better at choosing the gear that I need to be in, rather than using the manual mode on the shifter or the pedals. You may find something different in your experience, but the transmission's pretty darn good in this dynamic mode in drive, so I'm not messing with that too much. I'm going to drive it up this hill, push it a little bit. See, it downshifted really early, nicely for this corner. And it's very eager to go up this hill quickly. Yeah, I can hear the turbo whistle a little bit, doing its job. Very good. I like this a lot. So, this leads me to how I want to basically conclude this. Now, in my opinion, and granted I'm biased towards Swedish cars a bit, this is an extraordinarily special car. It's the right trim level with the Polestar optimization. It's the right color. It's the wagon. This is it. And this is pretty much the last of the non-electrified Volvos. So if you're looking for, if you're not quite ready to jump on the electric car or plug-in hybrid wagon yet, and you love Volvos or Swedish cars in general, like this is your car. This is it. Personally, I would be buying this car for my family. Like, if you've seen the review I've done of the Tiguan, I'd probably be replacing the Tiguan with this car. However, with the market the way it is, with interest rates and the fact that I was able to lease that car so inexpensively, it just doesn't make financial sense for me to buy this car right now. So, unfortunately, it's going to have to not be around. Like I said, I would love owning this, especially with that security blanket of the Volvo certified warranty. It's just, wow, this is a cool buy. But with that being said, I think that this car is going to make somebody extraordinarily happy. Today when I parked it and I walked away and I looked back at it, this is the type of car that you'll want to look back at. It's such a good-looking station wagon. Volvo did such a great job with the design of this car that, boy, you can't go wrong with it. So, with that being said, I hope that whoever winds up with this car absolutely treasures it and loves it. And the fact that it's got some miles on it and it's got this warranty means that, you know, what you can do is just drive the heck out of it and enjoy it. Not many cars out there, you don't have to be precious with it. It's still a station wagon. You can do station wagon things, haul family, haul things around, have some fun on the back roads. This car is quite versatile and does a lot of things really well and looks fantastic while doing it, while having an awesome interior. Wow. So, with that being said, if you get a chance, hit the subscribe button. I would appreciate it. Hit the like button. Leave some comments. Tell me I'm right. Tell me I'm wrong. Whatever you want to say, get it out there. And thank you for watching, and happy bidding.